All right, morning, folks. I didn't do a video for day 19. Had to work all day. I thought it was going to be half day. Just ended up working most of the day, and then started thrashing till about, I don't know, 8, maybe 7, and then decided to just kind of just take a break, shut it down, go hang out with the family, watch some TV, recharge the batteries, get my head right. Was just dragging a little bit, so I didn't even clean the garage or do a video. But I did get quite a bit done. So Saturday, so we're at Saturday morning right now, around 7, and all like coffee and is all done, and I'm ready to get going. Gonna do a good probably 40, 45 hour, no, 45 hours, 25, 30 hours on the truck next couple days. So yeah, let's take a look. I'll turn this around, and the sun's really just coming up. So I got all the floor in, the back panels in. Started to mock up the interior a little bit. And when I say the floor's in, the panels aren't actually, the top panels aren't in, the bottom ones are. I'm still missing the cool floor pieces, so those should be here next week, and then I'll put those in. Hold on a second. There you go. Let's see. Let me get to the other side. Yeah, I haven't cleaned the garage, so you're seeing it just as I left it. I've got the intake back off. I've got the parking brake in, and it's all bolted down nice. I've got the rear wiring harness still zip tied, and it's exiting out the trainee tunnel right now. That was the main effort, just run around and get all the aluminum starting to make it look like ready for a go-kart. And then just as about I was getting ready to go inside, I decided to take off the intake to prep for today. And then one thing led to another, and I've already started to loom the wiring harness back up, and this is still in the primary stages, just getting the different looms together. On this side, this was the O2 harness. No, that's not the O2 harness. That is alternator, which we won't need. But this is the O2 harness. And this was already on the front of the motor, but we're going to need it on the back of the motor. So I had to go back and pull that one back out. So that's laying out. The other thing I did, just prepping so that I really just want to get done with this intake and get the motor in, because I really want to do first start here pretty soon. Let me get back on this side. The only problem I had was with this heater delete kit. This is actually supposed to go here, that secures this tube, but it was in its normal position. It hits this tube. So that I decided I just put a little standoff and then bolt it down there. I haven't called the company yet, but it definitely wasn't going to fit the way it was. But you can see the two different, that's the restriction side, and then that's the normal. And then I went ahead and put the bleeder in, so that's all set. Yeah, and then the only other thing I gotta do, and this is why I took the firewall off on this Coyote. You can see this nut or bolt that's holding this sensor on, and that can't live there. So I'm gonna rearrange this situation here and just cut the end of that off. and then probably move this one cable right here out of the way so it doesn't rub. But other than that, I think we're in good shape. Again, and this is why, so I can still get to all the bolts to put the firewall in. So plans looks like it's coming together. Then I was going to start with the harness as well. So the goal is, again, I'm going to wire up the whole truck. Probably I'm going to finish up the wire loom, get that in, and get the intake on and the fuel rails, and then I'm going to wire up the whole rest of the truck. And that should happen today. So anyway, so that's day 19. So we're at day 20, just starting off. Yep. So stand by. We'll do, like, I don't know, every couple hours I'll come out and do an update, like I think I did on like day 6. So you get to see the whole build process instead of just the finish. Yep. So let me get cracking, and we'll see you in a little bit. Okay. Well, we got the loom done, firewalls in, so it can be done that way. It's looking pretty good so far. And I will end up here in the next couple minutes. I've left the alternator wire, which I'm not going to use, but I don't want to cut it out right this second, and if I need to, I can later and just hide it. Don't want to paint myself in a corner. And I've got the O2 sensor now at the back with the little extra length. It's probably too long, but again, I'm not going to paint myself in a corner there. Everything else is looking good. Alignment on all the panels is decent. Of course, I'll end up putting a little bit of sealer in there just to make the difference up so it looks nice. But yeah, trucking right along. We're going to throw the intake on for probably the last time, and kind of see how the wire harness actually. So that's about how that one's going to look, right? So that's all you'll see. So that's pretty decent. I'll do the same thing. I'm getting new valve covers, so this was just trial fit. I'm not going to waste a bunch of time on that. But yeah, and I've just got that screw, and then there's one bolt right down there. That's holding that, and then it'll get pressed up against the body, and then I'll probably put 1 or 2 through the body just to make it all one piece. But you don't need like 10,000 screws. It's not structural, right? It's just the firewall. So, all right, I'm gonna keep going and report back in an hour or so. See you. Okay, midday update. It's noon, and I think I finished the motor install as far as the intake and how the final arrangement's going to be, and how I cleaned up all the wiring and reversed it so the Coyote control pack ECU will be inside. Basically, you'll be looking at the entire motor with the exception of the cam sensors and the coils. I don't think you can see very many wires, so let me turn this around real quick. So it's got the MMR fuel rail, hose in the front. The fuel pressure regulator will go here. I've got to get a 90-degree AN fitting, double female. There's the other side. So it looks pretty good. There's the alternator wires that are just hanging out right now. Again, I'm not going to use those, but I just haven't figured out how I want to hide those. And then you're not going to be able to go down inside, but you can kind of see how I still have a little bit of cleaning up to do right here. Looks like just put a little bit more F4 tape there, but that looks pretty good and tidy, I think. I mean, if you get down right in here to look inside, and you're not going to be able to do that because the radiator is going to be here, so you're not going to see it. And then You know, it's close. I mean, it looks like it's touching probably in the video, but it's not. And then down in there, that's all there is. So I think mission accomplished. You know, down in there, it doesn't look too bad. You're going to be climbing in right on it, probably going, well, where are all the injectors? It's not a running car. You know, but yep, wire harness is in there. Okay, so that's done. I guess I'll start hanging the ECU control pack and finish up laying in the chassis harness. So today's looking like we're on track. Still looking to have all the wiring in, at least run. Hopefully by today, and then tomorrow we'll terminate them to the ends and probably start the steering column and get that all situated now that I get to torque all the motor mount bolts and all that. So more to follow. See you in a bit. Okay folks, looks like wrap up video for Saturday. It's about 6. Didn't stop for lunch or anything like that, just kind of worked right through. So good pull. Got quite a bit done. A lot of stuff finalized, figured out. Started to torque all the suspension down. The car's actually sitting on the suspension now, not just the frame. Yeah, I'll turn it around and kind of talk through. I know I did some intermediate stuff along the way, and I didn't do yesterday's video, so I may repeat some stuff, but just bear with me. Yeah, let me just tidy that up. Okay, so let me turn this. Sun is setting now, and let's see. So back to front. I got all the rear wire harness is all in, secured. The rear suspension, let me back up. Rear suspension, the shocks are torqued. Well, missed that one. I'll have to do that one. It's a good thing we walked around. Yep, so that one I missed. The other 3, yep, that one's done. We'll walk around, just verify. That's funny. Moving too fast. Yep, there it is. That's why we nut and bolt everything. Okay, so 3 out of the 4 shocks in the back are done. The fronts are all done, and they're in. Horns are finally in, and the wire harnesses run up to the front. Yep, and then the engine in all its glory. I still have to wire up the alternator, and I'll get that done a couple days probably. Still got to torque the motor mounts down, but for the most part, that's going to be the motor as it sits. I still have to get a 90-degree double female AN6 for that, so I can run over to the fuel pressure regulator. Here's the rat's nest that is the Ron Francis and the Gen 2 Coyote pack, all kind of placed, ready to go. All internal. Ignition switches in. The pedal's sitting there, but my big problem right now that's holding me up, and I should have this done by next weekend, is I've got to get the floors in, so I can get the tunnel down and finally wire all that stuff up. I may, depending on how I feel tomorrow, I may just cut a slot in the tunnel, or make a bracket so that I can, remove a section of it and then put it in, so I can at least wire everything up, which is probably the direction I'll end up, because I'm going to quickly run out of stuff, I think, tomorrow. I got pretty far ahead. All the ECU's completely wired in, minus the one ground that's hanging right there. I'll get that taken care of. And then I can plug the front end to the rear harness. The sensors are all run. I did check the fuel pump already, so moving along to first start. O2 sensors are hanging in place. I'm waiting on the headers, which should be here next week, I hope. All the lower floor is riveted, the back wall is riveted. Probably need to think about finding those side panels and get those put in. Something I could probably do tomorrow. But yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. Got the transmissions all bolted in. I had to shim it to check pinion angle, which is close right now, but I won't finalize it. I put 2 washers underneath the transmission mount just to get the angle right, which it doesn't look halfway bad right now. I think I'm at like 3 or 4. But I don't have the suspension or the truck down on the ground. Technically, I guess I could just do it off, just measure it all out, 26-inch tires or 27-inch tires. Yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to hook up the front suspension, get it all nut and bolted, torque, get the brakes pads in, loaded, spaced, get the steering in, wire up the alternator. Yeah, I'm not sure much. Yeah, I get to get the steering rack in. I went ahead and pulled the steering column, so it's out, ready to go. I got a bunch of odds and ends powder coat. I'll probably mount these guys up on the upper control arms, pivot bolts. This desk is getting pretty much cleaned out. I was actually thinking about breaking it down, but I'm gonna try and at least get the brakes bled, maybe. At least get this all situated. I really want to kind of get the two master cylinder reservoirs in and get that all run. That needs to get done at some point anyway. But yeah, I'm kind of dinging it. We're moving right along. I need to get the belt installed on the front of the motor. And what else? The horns are all in. I need to finish greasing up. I'm missing, well, I haven't installed. I'm not missing, but I haven't installed a couple of the grease fittings, so I need to get on that. Haven't checked out the horns, function checked those yet. I'm sure they work. Parking brake, that's all done in. Yeah, I do believe that's it. So yeah, so moving right along. I think tomorrow we'll keep progressing. It should, I think, get the steering column in. We need to get the brake switches in. Get that done. Engine is pretty much wrapped up, waiting on valve covers. And yeah, I mean that's about it. I think we did a good job today. Got most of everything that we wanted done. And technically, I think I'm where I thought I was going to be on Sunday. So that's good. Yeah, I think tomorrow morning, while it's fresh, I'll probably run around and just, before it gets too far more into the truck, I'm going to torque all the suspension bolts and get a little bit better alignment on the front. I've got this drunken, you know, that's definitely not the camber we want to, you know, play around with. So yeah, I'll get that all figured out and get the alternator. That's it. And I'm still waiting on the little harness that goes, you know, from here and here down to the stock spot, and then I've just got to get a small piece of 5/8 heater hose to go from there to the other one. But yeah, you can't really even see the fuel rail. Crossover hose, I hit it up in between here. So I was gonna hide it in the back, but then I was gonna have a long fuel line. Oops. you know, I was going to put this in the back and run it back there so you couldn't see it, but then I would have to pick up the line up here and then you'd see the line. So, but yeah, I did kick the fuel injectors inboard, so I'm kind of digging that. There, O2 sensor hanging right there. And the panel alignment's pretty good. Again, I'll go through and seal it up on the back side so you can't see light through there. But okay, so cleaned the garage too. Took about 30-35 minutes, and it was thrashing pretty good today. So I'm a little beat up. Anyway, a little tired, and I think I'm gonna go put my feet up for a little bit, have an iced tea, and just walk around the truck and come up with a plan for tomorrow, so we're not milling around. And I guess we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. See you later.